Manchester United are on their way down here. Probably here already in a nice sunny London this morning, because they take on Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham tonight.
Coming down by train.
Coming down by train these days. Yeah, I quite like that. They pack it with their own security, but they hop on the train, I think it's Stockport, and come down here. And I presume that's how they go back. Anyway, you've derailed me there.
Is that for their carbon footprint?
Very much so. Ruben Amorim, though, is he giving mixed messages on Marcus Rashford? Marcus Rashford, who himself declared to Henry Winter, "My days are numbered at Manchester United." So Rashford, it's our understanding, will not be playing tonight, isn't in the squad and hasn't travelled. So what's Amorim on about when he speaks now about Rashford?
What I want is to take the best of Marcus Rashford as the players. So I don't talk about the future, I just talk about the present. I want the best of each one of them. And that is the key point for me. I just want to win and to help the team to be better. So we are better with Marcus Rashford, and that's simple. And we'll try different things to push Marcus to the best level that he's shown in the past. So this kind of club needs big talent, and he's a big talent. So we just need to perform at the highest level, and that is my focus. I just want to help Marcus.
So he wants to help Marcus,
and
he's left him at home.
Is what I'd help him.
Well, I mean, Amorim's saying that. And Marcus Rashford, as far as we gather, could well be sitting at home in Rashford Towers listening to you and I, because he's not going to be involved tonight.
No, he's probably recording one of those podcasts with the soft music behind him, telling us how hard done by he is. I think he's in a difficult position, Amorim, isn't he? I mean, yesterday we listened to the PR department of Marcus Rashford, Henry Winter, and tell us about how it was Man United's initiative.
Come on, Henry got a good story there.
How it was Man United's initiative, and that ultimately that Marcus Rashford was really reacting to an agenda being set by Man United. How Henry would have that knowledge is beyond me, but I think it's probably more likely that's been fed to him by Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford's job is to be worth something to Manchester United, and Amorim is quite right to say. I always used to use the sort of ideal of, if you're going to be here for 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months or 5 years, I want your best 5 hours, best 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months or 5 years. And he's kind of saying that, well, I can't deal with the future because the future will take care of itself. But what I want is the best version of Marcus Rashford. What Marcus Rashford has done has set the cat amongst the pigeons. People are trying to work out the meaning of what he meant about his new challenge. It's quite clear, unless you're the blind leading the deaf, that what he meant was he wants to leave Manchester United. And why he would feel the necessity to announce that, I don't know. But the fact with Amorim, what Amorim is getting is a crash course in what it's like to be Manchester United manager. Because sometimes you don't know whether you're Arthur or Martha. You're fighting against the very people that should be on side with you. And Manchester United brings such heat, such temperature, such awareness, such focus on everything that players like Rashford can utilise the opportunity. And when you look at the successes of Man United, you talk about Ronaldo. One of the things that people said to me when they were talking about Ronaldo's success and how many social media followers he has, most of the time when you look at Ronaldo's imagery, it's in a Manchester United shirt or a Real Madrid shirt or a Juventus shirt. So still the iconography of the club translates above the individual.
That's a great point.
And that's the thing about Man United.
I've seen that. You're right.
I think Amorim is managing this minefield of what to say. I would suspect what he wants to do is get his hands around his throat and say, what are you thinking? Why would you behave this way? This is a conversation between you and I. This is not a conversation for the media. Why would you give some journalist an insight into the relationship that you have with a club? I think it's preposterous. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's an awful behaviour from Rashford. And I hope he reaps the whirlwind for it. He probably won't. He'll probably get rewarded for it by a bigger contract somewhere. But the point of it is that Marcus Rashford has made his decision, it would appear. The dust will settle. I would imagine that Amorim doesn't think it's constructive. Danny Murphy gave us an insight into the thinking of players yesterday by saying, if you're a player and you get dropped for Rashford, what are you thinking? You're thinking, hang on a second, this fella don't want to be here anymore. And you're picking him above me. So there's all these sort of politics.
So can he play again for Manchester United?
Well, of course he can play again for Man United.
Will he?
He hasn't committed a cardinal sin. He's committed a professional indiscretion, in my view, an unwise one. But there you are. That's what players do. That's how they behave.
Garnacho's in the squad tonight. So
but he's just a little runt, isn't he? I mean, he's the one running around complaining about the fact that people didn't, can't celebrate a goal because people didn't applaud him everything he ever did.
Well, runt or not,
but that to me
back.
that to me is the character of somebody. That's the precise polar opposite of what you want. What you want is leaders and people that play for Man United with some real understanding of their responsibility to the fan base and to the football club per se. So Rashford, in and of himself,
It'd be funny if you run into Garnacho's brother tonight.
Well, what's he going to be? About 2 foot tall, same as him. What's he going to do? Punch me in the knee?
Do you think we'll see Rashford again? I really do mean that, because I'm now struggling to think, after he said what he said to Henry, and well done, Henry Winter, some journalist, as you called him.
Oh, he's some journalist.
That was the line to get, and he got it. And the bottom line is, Rashford said what he said, and now it makes it difficult to see him in a United shirt again.
I don't suppose Henry put the thumbscrews on him and made him tell him something. I think Rashford was all too keen to tell him it. It wasn't some Woodward and Bernstein moment. They didn't get a deep throat perspective out of it, did they? They got Marcus Rashford telling us what he wanted to tell us. And then what you get is Henry's version of how it happened, because Man United created it. Can't possibly know that. That's because Henry's got a particular bias towards the player in this instance. The bottom line is that Rashford has created a conversation piece which I don't think is constructive for Manchester United. And that's what the common good should be. Yeah. It should be what is right for Man United until it's not.
What do you think you'll see tonight? You think you'll see United win and leave Tottenham having got themselves into a semi-final?
What I hope to see? I hope to see a good game.
Yeah.
And given that I have the undoubted pleasure of spending my time in the north over Christmas, I hope they get sent back with nothing. Okay. And that the southern teams start to dominate.
Well, that was nice. We're going to be speaking about Tottenham further down the line, because Christian Horner, F1, is going to join us live in studio very shortly. When we get to Tottenham, we'll get to the comments from Ange Postecoglou going into this game tonight against Manchester United, and he talks about what it's been like for him, what it's like for him in general and others being football managers. You don't even get sacked in the morning now. You've got to change your song. This is a message to the fans. And then he goes on to say, this job is the hardest job now in any walk of life. How many times does the Prime Minister have an election? I have one every weekend. We have an election every weekend, and we either get voted in or out. It's a tougher gig than Sir Keir Starmer, says Ange. Really? As we go into that, give me a line in that, Simon. What's your reaction to what Ange is saying? It's tougher at times than being the Prime Minister. I mean, Ange, I really like Ange Postecoglou. I have a lot of time for him. I like his bluntness. He's to the point. But really...
No, of course it's not a tougher job than being the bloody Prime Minister. He's saying it from a rarefied, self-entitled point of view. There are far more compelling jobs, far more meaningful jobs. Surgeons and people of that nature do far more important things than football managers.
talkSPORT show hosts.
Well, I don't know about that, but I do agree with him. There is an ugly side of football that I don't much like.
Yeah,
I never liked it. I don't think it's funny. I don't care who doesn't like this. I dislike fans sitting inside a football stadium saying you're getting sacked in the morning. I've never thought that was funny. I've never felt that was edifying or particularly palatable. I'm not sure they're trying to be.
I thought that's all part of the tribalism that you love about football.
Well, I do like the tribalism of football.
You're getting sacked in the morning.
Well, that's
why did they sing that about you?
Well, they couldn't sack me, could they? I mean, I ended up sacking myself. But the point is that you can't ultimately remove tribalism from the game, but there's a part of it that I don't like. I don't admire all aspects of it, do I?
No.
And in this instance, I think Ange, I don't know what wisdom he's trying to impart and why he's seeking to impart that.
Right.
But I think it's all to do with this slightly intemperate attitude he has towards the media.
Yeah.
At times you listen to him, he bristles, he doesn't like it, he doesn't like to be challenged, he's intolerant of it. I mean, we heard him yesterday. I mean, the girl did ask him the same question and the same guys about 3 times, and he did get fed up with it in the end and to say to her, I've already answered that.
It could well be that.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.